Alright, it's 7:30 in the morning, and I got a pig's head to deal with. And I'm not sure if it's thawed out all the way. So we'll see what happens. So I used to be a butcher, as some of you know, and we used to do about 200 pigs a week in the butcher shop. And I used to work at the head table, which is one of my stations, so I've literally personally gone through thousands of pigs' heads. Now, ironically enough, I've never dealt with one. Let me get this out of here. I've never actually dealt with a pig's head that still has the jowls on it. The jowl is this big piece here. Oh boy, he's not thawed at all. Well, we'll see what we can do. There's a bit of ice there. The jowl is this big piece here, and the main reason I want the head is to make jowl bacon. It makes really good bacon. The way we did the pigs at the shop where I worked is when you take the head off, you leave the jowl on the shoulders, actually. So they would cut, and I never got to do that part of it. They start behind the ear, and they come down here, and down like that, on both sides, and then take the head off, and leave the jowls on the shoulders. And that is actually, you need quite a bit of expertise in order to take the head off a pig. And since I was just training, I was only there 6 months total before I injured my shoulder, and the doctor told me not to do a butcher's job anymore. So I never actually got to remove the jowls. What I did a lot of is removing the ears. So we would get a lot of orders from Chinese restaurants. You can see the jowl meat there, actually, just to keep on the jowls. And this makes really, really good bacon. So the trick in the jowl is to get the jowl off without cutting out the cheeks. The cheeks are something different. They're right on top of the bone. So we'll see what we get here. Taking off, I'm hoping my knife is sharp enough. Oh, I should mention one more thing. You might notice I've got Saran Wrap on the kitchen counter underneath my cutting boards. That's mainly in case my wife wakes up and sees me doing this, and she's going to have a conniption fit, I think. So taking off the ears is easy with a sharp knife. Let's see how sharp my knife is. It's not terribly dull, but it's not terribly sharp either. So you got to take the ears off. The way we would get orders would always be for a pair of ears. I don't know how they're cooking them. I'm going to try to get a good recipe for ears. Never done it myself. But for us it was always a pair of ears, and if the ears weren't in a pair, they were no good to sell. So I don't know what that means in terms of a recipe. But yeah, this knife is terrible. I did try to sharpen it, but I didn't do a very good job. So typically you would take that off all in one swoop right across the two ears. Oh man, it's not helping either that this is still really got ice crystals in it and stuff, so it's a combination of dull knife and quasi-frozen pig.
I want some more.
You want more bacon? The bacon's all gone, buddy. Sorry. So there's a pair of pig's ears, and we would take those off and throw them in a big bucket full of pig's ears. So I'll set those aside, and we're just going to have a peek.
Cut some more for me, then put some.
I got to cut some more bacon for you from this pig, do I? And then put some in the frying pan?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was my 3-year-old, and we're out of bacon, so he's not happy. I gotta figure out how to get that damn jowl off there, having never done this before. And it's been 2 years, so I can't remember, but I believe I want to go down here, right down there, by my memory. So we're gonna start it right here, and we're gonna go down. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the knife is not that bad, but there is definitely some ice still in there. So that's not helping matters for me. So okay. Now, so let me see if I can show you here. I do recognize this fellow right here is an outer cheek muscle. So I don't want to slice that off. The good butchers, when they take these off, and it's just like a half a second per, they might make a little nick in the cheek muscle, but nothing substantial. So there's my outer cheek muscle. And it's really quite something to watch these guys work. Alright, so that is coming off there pretty good. Let me see if that, yeah, so it's got a nice triangular shape. That's a good jowl, I remember that much. I might clean up some of this stuff a little bit here. But that's a pretty good jowl. That's not too bad for taking off my first jowl. And the outer cheek muscle here is still fully intact. That's really good meat. So let's see what I can do with the other side. Again, we're going to go down like this, right down to below where the ear was. Oh boy. Yeah, this is a really crappy knife. Sorry about that. But look, there's ice crystals in there, so that's not helping me either. The knife would actually be sharp enough for this if it weren't for all the ice, I think. It's coming off of there fairly well. So, I don't know if I'll do as well on this side. I just cut into a cheek muscle there. Right there. That's okay. Yeah, there's quite a bit of ice on this side. It was thawing unevenly. It's been 2 days since I picked it up. I had it thawing in the cooler for a day, and then I threw it in the fridge, but that's a pretty cold fridge. So I should have left it in the cooler a bit longer to thaw it out better. Oh, this is a Kevlar glove, by the way. In theory, it is not easy to cut, in case I make a boo-boo. Alright, so we got another jowl. Nice triangular shape. That's going to make a good jowl bacon. So we'll set that aside over here. Now, doing the cheeks, there's a cheekbone under there, right here, and the meat goes underneath the bone. And oh boy, that's pretty frozen. I'm trying to remember if I used to do these this way. I used to do it this way. Now there's a gland. Let me see what you can see there. There's a gland. You don't want to get the gland on your cheek meat. So there should be a bone right under here that you cut up. Let me just see if I can find that bone. It's right there. I can feel it. You cut up underneath and then back down again. Oh boy, that's frozen to that bone pretty good. You can hear the ice crystals hacking there. So, alright, well that's not too bad. Yeah, it's really frozen there. So there is actually a pretty good cheek removal. You can see now there's the way the bone structure goes. That's a bone right there, and the cheek muscle goes up underneath the bone. And normally when you're cutting those out, when you're doing couple of dozen of these, well, on Monday we'd do 64 pigs, and I'd get half of those heads, so I'd be doing 32 heads on a Monday. It's just swoop swoop and it's out. Now if I can remember, there's a lot of glandular tissue in the inner cheek. There's also an inner cheek, and I can't remember the trick to getting the inner cheek muscle out. So let's just see what we come up with here. I'll have to wing it. Hard to believe I've forgotten so much in 2 years. But this would be, one head would be, I don't know, 10 seconds ahead, something like that. For just the cheeks, you take the ears off. Yeah, maybe 30 seconds ahead for the whole thing. You normally don't take the snout off. It was only rare that we'd get orders for snouts. So let's see what I can get out of there. Up, and then there's another, I think on the inner one, you risk hitting the back teeth if you're not doing it right. And yeah, I can feel another bone in there. Gosh, I can't believe it's been only 2 years and I've completely forgotten how to do this. Oh, and it does not help having this all ice crystals. It's good and cold. So let's see what I got there. A little bit of glandular tissue that's got to be cut away. You normally don't want to eat that. I guess the paleo crowd, maybe they do want to eat that. It's just another piece of animal. Alright, set that aside. We'll flip them over. There's a good view of that cheek muscle. The really big one on this guy. We used to cut the eyes out too sometimes for the Eye Institute, for training new eye doctors. They would order, we'd get, in the 6 months I was there, we probably had 4 orders of, so maybe once a month. And those are damn hard to cut out, and I'll never get it out with this dull knife. Eyes are hard to get out intact. So, let's see. There's my cheekbone. I can feel it right there. You can hear it, so I got to get under there. There's under the cheekbone. And then turn the knife around and go back. And then there's a big bone right down here, and you just kind of swoop down along the edge of that bone. It's like a big plate. And you're swooping down along that plate. Another good cheek muscle out. Not sure what I'll do with those. And then the inside muscle. Let's see what I come up with here. Up. What is that I'm missing there? So inside muscle, you're going to get, like I said, the glands on the inside muscle. There's one there, one there. We'll get there. The problem is with my crappy one, I can't get the tip very sharp. It's good and sharp along here, but the place where I really need it sharp is right on the tip. So we go right to the corner of his mouth when you're taking off the snout. So we're down here. We're almost there. Pull a bit. Really missing having the tip of my knife sharp. Ah. And I don't know what to do with a snout either. I have never cooked one, but I'm going to cook this and see what I come up with. There. So you can make a little finger puppet if you want. Doodle-doo-doo. So that's everything really. The big things that I wanted off of here was the cheeks, the snout, the ears, and of course the main thing, the jowls. I'm just going to give it a look over here. I mean, there's still a fair bit of meat right in around here, quite a lot of meat where the head was joining to the shoulders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rest of this guy. I might actually try to get some more skin off of it to make crackling, and maybe I'll do that, and then I'll throw the thing into a pot and see what I can do about making stock. And the good meat might fall off of there. I know the brain is still in there. I'm not too worried about that. It'll get boiled for the stock as well, so it's going to add some flavor to the stock. But and people eat the brains, so you know, it's not the end of the world. With a very fine belt on it. So there, I'm going to try to make some crackling out of that. That's the rest of the skin. So we got everything done. I'm going to get my... Alright, it's recording still. I don't know what just happened there. It timed out on me. I think it can only do 25 minutes at a time. I hope I got the rest of that on film. Otherwise, well, holy crap. Alright, so I'm going to get my big pot. I'm going to get all of this stuff, the stuff that the ears and jowls, get those into a bag and into the fridge right away. This guy's going into a pot, and we're going to make some broth and get some of that meat off of there by cooking it. And here we go. We'll see you in a bit.